I just launched a page called Notion Friendly Tools, which is a database full of Notion apps, plugins, widgets, and embeds. From this database, I gathered 8 different tools to showcase in today's video. And of course, there will be a link down below to that full database for you to check out. So let's just get right into working with these aesthetic and functional Notion tools. Here is what the Notion Friendly Tools page looks like, and what I'm going to do is just go through the featured list over to the side at the top and go through some of my favorites. The first one we're going to look at is super easy, and this is a design tool. It is Poet.so, and it essentially just turns a tweet link into a nice image like this. So let's take a look at that. So I'm going to grab a tweet. I have a status tweet right here ready to copy. Go back over to the site and paste it into the top super quick, and it should generate. So at the bottom there is some customization tools that are different gradients. You can hide the responses, which I think I want to do. Change the size, and I can download this or copy it. I'm going to copy it to my clipboard. I'm going to go back over to Notion, to the Notion Tools Playground. This is the page that I want to use all of these tools and give an example of how they work. So under the toggle Poet.so, I do have a table here that is pretty empty. Right now it is in gallery view, and I have 2 different properties, one for a URL, which may be a URL to that tweet, and then just a title. But what I want to show you is how I can paste that image from my clipboard into the body of the page. And if I were to click away, it will now show through my gallery card. And remember, this is the gallery view option. So if I were to click on this database view and go to edit view and layout, I am in gallery. The reason why you may want to use this, especially for tweets, is because if I were to go back, actually delete this block, go back to Twitter, and maybe you have a system in place where you save tweets to Notion. The problem with saving tweets is if I were to copy the link to this tweet and add it to the body of the page, it gives me an embed to the tweet, which is really nice because it is clickable. However, I cannot see it through my gallery card. So it may be beneficial to use this tool for a setup like this. The next one is a widget, and it is one of the more useful widgets available really across all Notion widgets, and of course comes from Indify.co, which is probably the leader for aesthetic widgets that are both aesthetic and functional. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to go to my calendar widget that I've already created. And this is directly from my Google Calendar, and you can look at this in a few different ways. You can look at it as a month, a week, a day, agenda. Let's look at week, and you can kind of look at it like a timetable, which is really, really useful, especially if you're using Notion in ways that are more simple and you are more focused on task management inside of Google. So what you do when you're done customizing is you go down to the bottom and copy this link here, and it will be copied to your clipboard. Go back over to Notion, and in any block, paste it in and choose Create Embed. And there it is, and you can adjust the way it looks, of course, and if you toggle this option in your customization page, you can also toggle it into dark mode. The next one is a nice little program that you can download onto your computer called Quick Add for Notion. Keep in mind that this is only for macOS users, but let's just get right into downloading this. I already have it downloaded, but this link is going to take you to a Gumroad page, and I have it downloaded right here. It is free. You're going to download it to your computer, and if you are a Mac user, you may have to go to your system preferences and go to Security and Privacy. And in the General tab, down here at the bottom, it says Quick Add for Notion app was blocked from use because it is not from an identified developer. Just say open anyway. you'll notice that the Quick Add for Notion icon is now in your top bar on your desktop. You're going to click that. It'll prompt you to log into Notion, and you're pretty much ready to go. All you'll have to do is select the pages that you want your new entries to go to. So what this is going to do is add new entries. It's pretty minimal, but you'll be able to remotely add new pages to a database you select. So let's go back to the playground and pick that database. So I have one already created, and it is called Quick Add Example. Let's go back. And what I'm going to do is actually select my workspace and inside Notion Tools Playground, which is the name of this page. And what that'll do, just so you know, whenever you come up with this, or whenever you're faced with this page to select a database, there's a lot of tools that have you do this, that do connect directly to your databases, to your workspace. I recommend choosing your home page, or the page that has all of your databases inside, because if you choose that, I do have quite a few databases inside of this Notion Tools Playground page, so I'm just going to select that page, and it will include all of the databases inside. Allow access, and we'll have our little pop-up window here where I can select the database from that page, which in this case is the Quick Add Example, and I can just start typing. So let's assume that this database is a task manager database. We just have tags between not started and completed and the name of the task. I can also add a filter here. Because we cannot manipulate that tag's property, we can only add a new task, save. Let's go back. You'll see it has been added without a tag. What I can do is actually just create a new view here called Inbox. Make sure it has a filter where tags is empty. Save for everyone. So now all of my quick adds will go right into this inbox side. Now in all, I can do a filter that is the opposite by clicking this filter, going to tags and saying is not empty. So now when I add a new entry, so new task, title, save, you'll see it has not shown up in the all database view, but has inside of inbox. And once I give it a tag, it will switch over to all. The next one is really similar to the Indify.co widgets, and that's the Get Caro widgets. And what this does is give you, again, like Indify.co, a very aesthetic and functional widget. So let's go right over and create that widget. So obviously, very, very aesthetic, very cute, something that definitely matches with my theme in my Notion workspace. In fact, I tend to use the habit/goal block, which is just a ticker block that you can tick up and down and customize. There's also a progress block and a countdown block, but we're just going to create a time block for now. And it is free. However, if you want to track your progress for your habits or how much you're working, you'll have to pay for a premium version. So the title for this time block is going to be Get to Work. And let's do 1 hour and 30 minutes. We can change the color maybe to red and copy right down here. Go back to Notion, super easy implementation. Let's go into time block. I'm pretty sure that I customized it for light mode, so let's just change over real quick, paste it in, and take a look at what this embed looks like. Tap on it and start the timer. Like I said, there's also those tickers that are really useful for habit tracking if you don't want to use the native Notion tables for your habit tracking and you'd rather use this. However, I do recommend using that premium version so you can look at your stats when it comes to the habit tracking. The next tool we're going to look at is Notion to Charts, and this is a chart maker from your Notion databases. So let's click through to the website, sign in, If I go back to my Notion Tools playground, I do have an example table that I want to grab information from. Let's open this up as a page via the block menu and take a look at some of the properties. So we have the name, which is just each day as a date. We have the mood that I may have been in that day, the date as an actual date property, and then if I was productive or not. So this is pretty stripped back, but the two properties I want to use here is mood and productivity. I want to see how these two things correlate, and I'm going to use a line graph to do so. So I'm going to go back to that website, create a new chart, and create a line chart. I'm going to select my database, charts example, and you will have to connect to Notion before doing this, which it will prompt you to do. Or you can go over to Edit Connection with Notion up here, and it will send you to that page to connect. So line chart, my database is charts example. In this case, I want my X to be mood and my Y to be productive. Create that chart, and here it is. So we can customize it, although with the free option, there are some limitations, but we can choose either single color or multiple colors if that is applicable. Data labels, we can also configure the Y-axis, its aggregation, and its data type. So this is a very simple line graph. What you'll do is just copy the link once you're done, share to web, copy, go back to Notion, and paste that embed in. And add a block below my database here, and create an embed. Now I can change it to dark mode from my embed. Drag this out. We have a nice chart. So what's even better about Notion to charts is that it is not static. This chart is dynamic, so it will change in real time as you add more information to your database. The next tool is called Bardeen, a Chrome extension. So this tool is definitely useful for more advanced users who are looking for a web clipper that kind of acts like an automation tool, or very much is an automation tool. So let's go through this link. And here is the extension web page, which you'll link to, and you can add this to your Chrome where it will prompt you to authorize the Chrome extension via just signing up. Once you get all of that done, we can start building an automation tool. And in this case, I want to create sort of a souped up Twitter save tool. So I want to save all of my tweets to a database inside Notion. Let's go over to that database inside of the Notion Tools Playground and inside of Bardeen. So this table here is called Twitter Saves, and I have a few different properties that I want to fill out every time that I save a tweet, and this will happen automatically via the tool. We have the type of tweet, the URL to the tweet, the profile the tweet is coming from, or the @handle, and the media URL if it applies. So once you authorize the extension, it will send you to this page, which has a ton of different templates to get started with or to just use plainly. And you'll see some templates for Notion as well. We're going to use this one called Copy a Tweet to a Notion Database. And go to Add to My Playbooks. If I navigate to my playbooks, it should be right here, and we are going to customize it via the menu. And go to Open in Builder. You'll see it looks a lot like a traditional automation tool. Let's add this Notion page and change the to database to Twitter Saves, which is the title of that database in Notion. So I want to send this tweet to my Twitter Saves using the data that I scraped via this active tab. So that was action 1. I'm going to click that. I'm going to toggle down custom field mapping, and that should give me every single one of those properties from my Twitter Saves database. So I can map them. So for type, maybe I want a tag called media. For URL, I can go to action 1, scrape data, and choose one of these options. Down here there is URL. Media URL, same deal. go down to media URL, profile, I want to scrape the handle. So action 1, handle. And for the name of the database entry, I just want it to be the text in the tweet. So I'm going to look for that as well via action 1. And down at the bottom, tweet text. Done. Now we just need to add the Gmail step. So let's add via this plus button, new action. So for this one, what I want to do is send an email. So I'm going to go to more in actions and look for send email. Now this is after I've added that integration to Gmail. You should add all of your integrations in the beginning. I'm going to add a recipient, which is just my email. And the subject line is going to be new tweet added. You can also add information into the body of the email as well. Done. Save, and let's try this out. So let's go to a tweet and go to the one I went to before. Go to that icon, click my new playbook, and it should copy the tweet to my Notion database. So let's go over to it. And if you heard that notification, I just got a notification via my Gmail app that a new item was added to my database. And here it is. Speaking of web clippers from the browser, this next tool is called Save to Notion, and it is probably one of the tools that I talk about the most on this channel. It is probably also the best alternative to Notion's native web clipper. So let's take a look at that extension. Once you add it to your Chrome toolbar, all it will ask you to do is simply sign into Notion and you're ready to go. So once you have it set up, I have this page here that is an app that's actually inside of my Notion Friendly Tools page. So I want a system for whenever I find a new tool to be able to quickly send to an app submission database to undergo review before going to this page here, Notion Friendly Tools. Let's take a look at that app submission database. I'm going to be able to fill out all of these properties from the browser. So unlike Bardeen, where all of this would be filled out automatically, I do have to fill them out manually, at least most of them. But if you're looking for a more user-friendly web clipper that does a lot more than the original native clipper, this is a good option. So once you're ready, you're going to create your new form. To add a new form, press Add a New Form, choose your workspace, and then select the database you want to send to, in this case, App Submission. I can add a new field down below and select any one of those properties from my App Submissions database, like creators, Twitter handles, app description, and if I go down to 3 more fields, you'll see my app website property is hidden here because it is the only URL. And that should populate automatically the page URL, which is great. I want to get rid of the icon and the content image. So save and go back. And now whenever I discover a new app, I can select that form and start filling things out. So this app's name is Noticons. Just put in test for creators, test for Twitter handles, and test for app description. One more field showing the app website will automatically populate this URL. Add new page. Let's go back to app submissions and you'll see it has populated here. The next tool we're going to look at is a much easier one to implement, and that is a dynamic weather cover image. This is something that is common with Notion widgets. I feel like one of the most common widgets is the weather one. For instance, Indify.co has a great weather widget, but this one is a little bit different and I'll show you why. This is what it looks like. So it will give you your exact location, which I'm probably going to blur out, the time, the weather, temperature, wind, sunset, and sunrise. And this is dynamic, so it is in real time. There are 2 options, one for light and one for dark mode. Let's copy the link for dark mode. And there is more instruction in this page you can take a look at. add a cover, change cover, let's go to link and just paste it in. And there it is. Really, really cool. The last tool I want to share with you is a form builder. I've used other form builders for Notion before, but this one really caught my eye. So what I want to do to end this video is to actually create an app submission form inside of my Notion friendly tools. So you guys can either submit your own apps or tell me the apps I missed in the list, because I want this to keep growing over time. Let's go to the website and create that form. So first you're going to sign up or log in. And once you're inside of your dashboard and you have already connected Notion to Commotion, let's add a new form to my workspace. I'm going to select the database app submission, the one we used for Save to Notion. Or paste in the database URL, create the form, and right away we have some options. Of course, there are pro options as well. I could add a description, but I like how it looks. You'll notice that all of my properties have appeared as form submission options. So you can put in your email, creator's name, Twitter handles, app description, app website, and app name. I can also drag these around over here. Put app name at the top, email, maybe creators under app name. Once I'm done, I can simply create form, copy this link. I can go over to my Notion Friendly Tools page, maybe down at the bottom, add a page for app or submit your app. Paste that link in and create an embed. You might have to adjust the embed to fit the screen. You can add a description up here as well, which I'll do later. And let's fill this out. So let's say test app, red, my handle, submit, and let's take a look at the app submission database. Looks like everything's been filled out. And this will keep growing over time as more and more people submit through the form. Feel free to add your own apps through the app submission form or any apps I may have missed. So I'll see you guys the rest of the week on Twitter and next time with a new video. I'll see you then.